Welcome to America in Crisis, Breaking the Cycle of Addiction. My name is David Hunt, and I will be your host. This is our first show in a series that not only talks about avoiding addiction, but will show you what help is available to you and where to get it. Each episode will feature a guest that can not only inform you about the latest treatments, but can also connect you with the help that you need. Our first guest is Andrea Marconi. Andrea is the Youth and Young Adult Program Manager for the Phoenix. I met Andrea last month as she was a guest speaker at the Middlesex District Attorney Marian Ryan's Opioid Task Force meeting. Andrea, exactly what is the Phoenix?
So thanks for having me here today, David.
You're welcome.
The Phoenix is a national nonprofit. We create an active, sober community by offering free fitness programming to individuals recovering from substance use disorders and those choosing to live a sober lifestyle.
And how did the Phoenix begin? How did this come about?
Sure, so about 12 years ago, the Phoenix came to fruition. Our founder and hero, Scott Strode, found recovery early in life here in Massachusetts, and shortly thereafter started getting involved in athletics. He started boxing at a gym in Boston. He started getting involved in outdoor climbing, all different types of disciplines. And what he found was that he had this community of supporters, people who were encouraging him to live a healthy lifestyle, set goals, achieve those goals, set new goals, and he wanted to bring that to the recovery community. He often says finding recovery is like getting out of a burning building.
Okay.
And so he was relieved to have found recovery, but knew that other people were still suffering and really wanted to bring that to other people. So he partnered with our other co-founder, Jackie Helios, who has a PhD in social work. She lives here in Massachusetts, and the Phoenix was born. So we started in Colorado. Our Denver chapter is our original chapter. And what we do is we offer non-competitive individual athletic disciplines that anyone can participate in. They're completely free. The only requirement to participate is at least 48 hours sober, however someone defines that. So really kind of allowing people to get in at the ground floor early in recovery. If relapse happens, welcoming them back into the community right away, and doing healthy, fun, positive activities instead of those negative behaviors that we find within active addiction.
And what type of activities are available for people at the Phoenix?
So in our Boston chapter, which just had its grand opening, we currently offer CrossFit. We offer indoor rock climbing and yoga. And we also have some community-based activities. So hiking, we had surfing over the summer up in New Hampshire every Tuesday evening. We'll have different types of events. We also have indoor rock climbing here in Woburn on Sunday mornings at Boston Rock Gym from 10 a.m. to noon.
It's up on Wildwood, right?
Excuse me?
That's the one up on Wildwood?
I believe so,
Yep,
yes.
okay, I'm familiar with it, yes.
Okay.
Very good facility. I'd like to show you a couple of pictures if I could, and if you could tell me what's going on in these pictures.
Sure.
Which facility is that taken out of, please?
Our Boston facility, it's our New England flagship gym, and we are located at 54 in Newmarket Square, down by Boston Medical Center. We purposefully chose that location because there is both a lot of active addiction that happens in the neighborhood and also a lot of recovery support services. So we're really trying to be a part of that culture shift, changing that name that people often refer to it as methadone mild.
We was just on TV last night with the tent that's going up there.
And so we're really trying to be part of that shift to changing it toward recovery road, showing that recovery is possible. So we had our grand opening for our new facility there. It's 11,000 square feet. It has a brand new CrossFit box, which is the equipment used for CrossFitting. It has 3 rock climbing walls that includes top roping, lead climbing, and bouldering, which are 3 different types of indoor climbing, and a yoga studio. So this first picture right here shows the windows to the yoga room, as well as some of our equipment that's used. So these are assault bikes and rowing erg machines.
Yes. And I understand I just saw you the other week on Channel 7, they did a feature of your grand opening.
Yes, it was a great event. We had more people than we've ever had in the gym. We had some of our team members speaking about their experience, young people and into adulthood. We had some local leadership talking about it, and then we had food trucks so people could eat some healthy food and really kind of experience the gym. Opened up the climbing walls, had an open house.
And who's this gentleman here? The gentleman on the weights?
This is Lee. Lee Soares is one of our coaches. He is a rock star in every way. And so one of the things that's really special about the Phoenix is that our programming is all peer-led. All of the instructors for Phoenix classes are peers in recovery ourselves. So Lee is a person in long-term recovery. He also is an instructor for CrossFit, climbing. Sometimes we offer Tai Chi. He leads that as well. Weightlifting, different types of discipline, kickboxing. And so in this photo, it looks like he's kind of in the process of a deadlift or maybe a more complicated Olympic weightlifting movement. One of the things that's really important for us to make sure that everyone knows is that everything that we offer is fully scalable.
Okay.
So we can offer the same class to the competitive athlete, someone like Lee, who really is physically fit and strong. But we can also offer it to someone who's never been in a gym before, who has never kind of tried these disciplines, who maybe has an injury or a disability. And what we're doing is doing the same type of movements for all of us working on the same kind of body parts, but doing it in a way that's safe and appropriate for each person's ability level.
I like that. So anybody can come in regardless of their level of training. They come right off the street, never lifting a weight in their life.
Absolutely.
Someone like me.
And me. And when I started working at Phoenix, that was my experience. I had never done CrossFit. I had never climbed. I had not much experience in yoga. And a year later, I've made a little progress. I have a long way to go, but it's very similar to recovery. We start where we are and we learn from one another. The real magic of Phoenix happens, I think, the way that it works is as we build resiliency, as we get physically stronger, as we try new things, face things that might be scary that we're not sure we can do, maybe fail the first time and keep trying and then succeed, we learn to apply those skills to our recovery. So we're not sitting there in a group talking about how that happens, but it does happen. And so I can tell you personally, I've tried things that have been very difficult for me, and they start to get easier over time. And I realize that I'm building self-esteem, I'm building confidence in myself. And really the magic is that community of support. So there's a whole family of people supporting one another to do these types of things.
So they're basically putting their mind in a different area altogether, taking their mind off what their problems are that may have caused them to use a substance in the first place, and now they're coping through exercise. It just takes their mind in a much healthier place.
Absolutely. We know the science behind the fact that physical activity supports overall well-being, mental health. It helps us sleep better. It helps new cells regenerate. But on top of that, exactly what you said, we're replacing those negative behaviors with positive activities, positive peers and role models, and really simply put, fun. In active addiction, there's not a lot of fun. There's a lot of hopelessness. And the things that I've done through Phoenix are pretty awesome and fun.
Sounds that way. This young lady who looks like she's hanging from a set of bars. What is she doing in this photo?
Kelly is so wonderful. Kelly Cave is one of our coaches at Phoenix. She got involved with the Phoenix in our Colorado chapters as a team member. She was in recovery, came in, and was one of those people we just spoke about who did not have any experience in fitness, and dove in headfirst and really kind of started working hard at it. And she participated in our workforce development program. So she got involved in the community, started working with us, and actually became trained as her skills improved, got trained and certified as a CrossFit instructor. So she's been teaching CrossFit classes for quite a while now, and actually recently moved out here to Boston and is one of our head coaches. Looks
like she's having fun.
Yeah, so what she's doing here, it looks like she's either in the middle of demonstrating a kipping movement, which is something we can teach you if you come on into the gym.
Yeah, sure.
Maybe doing a toe to bar, so kind of bringing her body upwards and bringing her toes to that bar. So the way that CrossFit works is it's constantly varied. It's different every day, and it's short intervals of high intensity movement. So you'll be doing something different each time you come, but you're kind of doing new things and then trying them again maybe a week or a month later and improving those skills.
One quick question is this set up and organized as far as if I come to the gym like you would go to a commercial place, do I just walk around to the facility, or is there someone that's going to take me around, introduce me to the different activities?
Yeah, that's a good question. So we are, unlike a traditional gym where you would just walk in and do your own thing, we do have some open gym times, but the first thing you'll do when you walk in the door is enroll as a team member. So as I mentioned, our programming is all free. We never require that anyone contribute any money. If someone's in a position to do so, we are a nonprofit and we welcome donations, but it's not a requirement. But we do have every team member complete a team member enrollment, which has them agreeing to our community standards.
Okay.
And those community standards really create a safe, inclusive, supportive, and nurturing environment. So that's the first thing that happens.
Yeah.
And then we go over those community standards at the beginning of every class. So the classes are really the meat of what we do.
Okay.
They're, again, peer-led by peers in recovery and have people participating with all different levels of ability, but it's usually a structured kind of program of what we're doing for the day. So each class begins with a circle up, and we'll all introduce ourselves. People can share what they want or not at all, but typically we'll invite people to let us know your name, so we're building those social bonds and identifying as either a person in recovery or a supporter. We do welcome community supporters. And then often an icebreaker question, just to let us know one another. And then the coach or the coaches for that class will go over some warm-up movements and kind of explain that day's workout. The WOD is the workout of the day. Or if it's a climbing event or yoga, they'll go through what we're doing and really kind of break down the movements and teach them. It's an opportunity to learn together.
I like the peer-led personally because, I mean, there's so many facilities out here, there's a lot of for-profits out there, they might know what to do, but people don't feel comfortable unless you've been in their shoes. So I'm sure someone would open up to someone that's been through it versus somebody on the corporate type that knows the stuff, but do I really want to tell this guy he hasn't been through it? Is he going to judge me? If you've already been through it, you're really not going to judge the person after you've just recovered from it. I think that's a lot more comfortable for the person coming in the door, knowing these are people that have been in my shoes, they know what it's like, they understand what it's like, and they're here to help me. Am I right?
Absolutely. And that's the purpose of why we're set up the way that we are. One of our instructors and employees, Chris Daggett, who helped kind of found the Boston chapter, talks about the first time he went out to Denver to be a part of the Phoenix. And he walked in the door and he saw a gentleman doing chin-ups with an ankle monitor on his ankle. And he said he broke down in tears. It was the first time outside of a 12-step meeting where he ever felt like he could fully be himself and he was completely safe there. And I experienced that. I see people experience that over and over again walking through the doors of Phoenix. We often say that the heaviest weight in the gym is the door. It's really difficult even for the average person to walk into a gym for the first time if you haven't been exercising. But if you add that experience, that life experience of trauma, addiction, all of the things that come along with that, it can be even more intimidating. And so it's really important for us to kind of let people know we've been where you are, we completely understand, and
they feel safe. They feel safe. You've been through it.
Absolutely.
You know what you're talking about. They feel safe.
Yes.
That's awesome. What's it? This looks like, which facility is this? I believe that's
so this is also our Boston facility. This is another angle, and it shows some of the weights. So some of the weights and bars and boxes for box jumping, some weight benches, and in the corner there you can see that rig. So it's important to us that we have really high quality equipment for a few reasons. People have offered to donate their secondhand equipment to us. But for a lot of people who have experienced substance use disorders, they either have never had access to high quality equipment or things in their life, or have lost access to it through their kind of life decisions. And so this is reinforcing the value of everyone participating. And then alongside the perimeter of this photo, you can see some of our rock climbing walls.
I see that,
which is pretty great. We just started opening up our rock climbing program in the Boston facility. It's really fun and, again, reinforces what we were talking about earlier. So if you're scared of heights, like I have been before, we're really learning to trust. Lee, that gentleman we saw in an earlier photo, when he's holding that rope, I literally trust him with my life. And a lot of us have trust issues because of the experiences we've had.
Exactly. Now, one last photo. I see it looks like a bunch of weight balls, medicine balls, and some equipment. What facility is this in, and exactly what's going on in this picture?
Okay, so it sounds like you have been in a gym before. You're right, these are medicine balls.
As an observer only. I
hope you'll come in, take a tour of the facility, and participate in a class. So yes, these are some medicine balls, and next to it is the GHD, the glute ham developer,
Okay.
which is another piece of equipment often used in CrossFit. And so this is our Boston facility, again, the largest of our Massachusetts programming locations. But we also have classes, again, on Sunday mornings here in Woburn at the Boston Rock Gym. And we recently opened a smaller but also wonderful facility up in Lowell, Massachusetts, which may be a little bit easier for people here in Woburn to get to. Yes. So that one is located in the Office of Community Counseling, formerly known as the Office of Community Corrections. Okay. It does not have the rock climbing walls, but we currently offer programming 3 days a week there, so Tuesdays, Wednesdays, and Thursdays, with plans to expand that schedule. And it's in the Office of Community Counseling. A lot of justice-involved individuals are coming in and engaging with their parole or probation officers in that gym, which is a really great way to kind of reframe law enforcement and the justice system's relationship with substance use, but it's also open to the public. So anyone who wants to pop in over there for a class is welcome to do so.
So basically, I live in Woburn. I want to do the Rock Gym in Woburn, but they don't have the facility that Lowell has. Do I have to live in Lowell to become, or any of these cities? Can anybody from any community, is there a cutoff point? Is it Middlesex County? Can they come from anywhere in the state? What are your parameters? What's
Absolutely.
the rules?
So anyone is welcome to participate. Again, the only requirement is 48 hours sober. Regardless of where you live, we would love for people to travel and see us at our different locations. And there's also opportunity for us to potentially bring programming to communities that are interested in building Phoenix programming. So sometimes we have volunteer-led programs if there is a yoga studio or someone wants to lead a run in a neighborhood. Okay. And we can train that person in the Phoenix model, potentially. So if someone were interested in that, they could go to our website, which is thephoenix.org, thephoenix.org, and that they could click the initiate button and someone will get in touch with them to start some programming potentially here in Woburn or in the area.
If you knew somebody needed something, do you refer? Do you have brochures? Do you have partners that you can partner up with? Say, yes, this program's excellent. We do the athletic in the gym. But if you have long-term recovery, do you have contacts and connections that you can set people up with?
Absolutely, yes. And so that has happened frequently. We have ongoing, very close relationships with a lot of support providers, service providers in the area here in Massachusetts, close to our different facilities. So if someone comes in and is really struggling with staying in recovery, we have the ability to kind of make that handoff, that personal introduction to offices that are able to support them, whether it's getting into detox or getting out of houselessness or looking for medical treatment, counseling, domestic violence support. Okay. So we have relationships with lots of different organizations.
That's awesome. If they find someone that they can trust, then you can bring them on to the next level. They won't be afraid to ask you for additional help.
So we're not counselors, right? We are not their kind of leading group therapy, but we are peers, and a lot of us have been through similar experiences to those people who are walking through the door for the first time. So we can kind of guide. And then in some of our chapters in Colorado right now, we actually have a peer recovery coach. And we're piloting that program there in Denver, and eventually we'll probably have recovery coaches in Massachusetts.
So you can easily refer somebody to something that's above your capability. If once they start to trust you, say, listen, I want to get a bed, I want to go somewhere to get clean, you have the resources and the people that you can send them to refer them.
Absolutely, yeah.
A lot of people, speaking of that, are afraid. There's a big stigma about using any type of drug product. And before, you picture the person who said, oh, I'm a heroin addict. You picture the guy under the bridge in the old days. When I was growing up, that's all you would figure. Now, it can be anybody. Someone, and my heart goes out to the people that took a drug, they got injured, they're on something, an opioid for treatment, and then their body got used to it, and then the doctor said, okay, your 90 days is up, you're getting better. And unfortunately, medically, the body gets used to this drug, not as it gets them high, makes them excited, or makes them happy. It might not do anything but kill the pain, and now his body gets so used to that drug, he can't get up out of bed without it. And again, he's not getting high from it, he's not getting happy. He just can't, body won't function. He's so used to that drug, and people are afraid to ask for help. And I'm sure you're somebody you could refer to in different programs, you could work with that.
Absolutely. When we say now anyone can be, I think anyone always could be. It's just a little bit, we're coming out of the shadows now. We talk about stigma, and the Phoenix is actively trying to kind of address that stigma. So when you see the shirt I'm wearing
Yes.
that says sober, our team members wear their shirt, our staff wear shirts that say this, and we're kind of letting people know this isn't something I'm ashamed of. I have experienced substance use disorder, and now I experience long-term recovery, and I'm available and willing to kind of support others along that journey. So addressing stigma is a huge part of what we're doing.
A lot of people just don't want to say it, and like knowing is the first step. I mean, I know it's hard for people to say, yes, I did this, I did that. They're going to get instantly judged. But I mean, people do make mistakes. You have peer pressure. Things do happen. You didn't plan on it. Again, you could have come off of it from an injury, and now what do I do? Okay, now I'm forced to buy on the street, and one thing leads to another. And I'm sure that's very hard with the stigma nowadays. I mean, people say, how do you do that? You want to go for a job, you want to go to something. It's so hard, something people try to keep in the closet, and they just can't get the treatment they need because they're so afraid to say, hey, I need help.
Yeah, it is. It's difficult, and I'm personally proud to be a part of something that's trying to change that. I know the Phoenix is a community of people who are proud of our recovery and aren't ashamed of it. And not everyone feels that way walking in the door the first time, and that's okay. We don't demand that people wear a sober shirt. We don't demand that people walk in the streets and go on TV and talk about their personal experiences. But we can kind of model that positive behavior of what recovery can look like and provide opportunities for people to kind of build self-esteem. You talked about challenges with careers. Our workforce development program allows opportunities for people to be very open about their life experiences. It's actually an asset to have lived experience when applying for a job at the Phoenix. And so kind of opening up those doorways where sometimes people have faced a dead end, we're opening up pathways.
So it sounds like you're doing just so much for the person, not just providing a place to go and exercise. You're doing so much more.
We are, and that's actually something that's in the plans down the line. So the vehicle, fitness is the vehicle that we use to build community and to empower our team members and those in our community. But there are other things that also work. So perhaps an art night or a family cookout, things like that. So it doesn't always have to be centered on fitness. That's the kind of the crux of what we do. But the community is really the people in it and what they're interested in. So we found in chapters that have been around for a little while that people maybe aren't coming to Phoenix as much anymore to do their mountain biking or to do their climbing because they're bringing that community to where they live. And it's not under the Phoenix title, but they have a sober, active community, and that's really our goal.
You should make my job easier. You said family. This mentions the perfect segue into family. Are there age limits? How old do you have to be? How young can you be? Is there a cap at how old you can be before walking in the door and climbing a rock wall?
Sure, yeah. So traditionally, Phoenix has been open to anyone 16 years or older, with the exception of a few family programs that were run out in Colorado, which is where we're headquartered. And so I was brought on about a year ago with my counterpart in Colorado, Ariel, and both of us have backgrounds in education, in community building, in the recovery space. And so what we're doing right now is kind of developing some targeted youth and young adult programs to support young people in recovery. It's really difficult to be a young person in recovery or to be trying on this identity of maybe being sober if you're not sure. And so we're starting with this young adult age group, ages 16 to 25, and have here in Massachusetts, we have a young adult workout once a week. We have some partnerships with some adolescent treatment programs. We'll have events, so we had a blacklight yoga one night from 9 to midnight on a Friday night, which is a really tough period for a young person who is actively trying not to go out partying. So that's some of what we're doing. And then eventually we'll scale down into some younger age programming, so doing some CrossFit Kids, doing some family programming as prevention and early intervention work. So I've been kind of doing some relationship building, going out into schools and talking to young people about kind of my personal experience and what Phoenix is for me at age-appropriate levels. Some young people either have never experienced substance use, which is unlikely, or don't know anyone who doesn't drink or use drugs, or has never met someone who chooses to live a sober lifestyle. And so what we're doing is introducing this as an option, as an alternative to substance use, something that's healthy and positive and fun, and hopefully head some off at the pass before they end up needing to identify being in recovery. They just choose this sober lifestyle instead of having to experience a substance use disorder before getting sober.
How does somebody get involved? Is there, quote, a join, or do they walk in the front door? Is there a membership fee, or what do they do? If they want to come in, do they fill out forms?
There's a couple of different ways to get involved. Again, on our website, thephoenix.org, you can view our class schedule under the events tab, and it also will allow you to participate. It says get involved. And you can fill out our team member enrollment there. You can also just walk into the gym, arrive about 15 minutes early for your first class, and our staff will help walk you through that team member enrollment, give you a tour, answer any questions that you have. You asked about a membership fee. Again, it's all free for Phoenix programming. One of our community standards is that as you get involved and experience the benefits of Phoenix, we ask you to give back what you can. Not everyone can give back financially. The money that I would spend on a gym membership goes to Phoenix now. But some people offer to kind of clean up the equipment after class or go on outreach activities and speak in their community, things like that. So really just kind of, in recovery, we often hear give back what is freely given to you. So we're giving Phoenix free. We just ask people to give what they can if they feel like it's worth it. And there's also another opportunity to give back, and we have a public membership-based model, which is per Ignum. Our per Ignum CrossFit gym and soon our climbing gym will not quite be Phoenix programming. So we don't have that 48-hour sobriety requirement. Definitely don't come in under the influence. But it's not targeted for people in recovery. It's a gym where you can come in for an early morning or evening CrossFit class or eventually to climb, pay a competitive rate. And every membership will support 4 people participating in Phoenix programming for free. So that's a really good way to kind of, if someone's just looking to stay healthy but also wants to give back, they can get involved in that. So again, you can check out our website, thephoenix.org. You can get in touch with me. I know you'll have my contact information, and I can connect people with our per Ignum staff if you'd like to try out a class for free. The first class is free, and then maybe join that.
Now, on the 48-hour rule, how do you regulate that?
So it's an honor system. We're not drug testing. We're not breathalyzing at the door. We want Phoenix to be a place where people are learning that they can be trusted again. If someone comes in and appears to be under the influence, we've all been there, so we can address that diplomatically and without making someone feel like they're not welcome. We'll just ask them to maybe come back another day. But again, we're not regulating that. One of the things I do want to emphasize is that we don't define anyone's recovery. So if someone is on medical assisted treatment, they're welcome to participate, which sometimes people think, I'm told I'm not sober, I'm told I'm not clean because I am on methadone or Suboxone or Vivitrol, and that's not the case at Phoenix. So if you're on medication and your dosage doesn't interfere with your ability to participate safely or be a part of our community, then you're welcome to be a part of it.
Are there any other programs that we haven't mentioned? I know I'm asking a lot of things at once. Is there anything you thought of that you haven't mentioned as far as other programs or other resources that you can provide?
I think we touched upon most of them right now. The most important thing I would say is come check it out. So if you're interested, if you're in recovery, thinking about recovery, know someone who's struggling or just want to kind of see what we're all about, come on in and check us out.
I always give that opportunity because I know sometimes we say so much like, oh, I wish he asked me that, I forgot to say that, how do I break camera? I wanted to say that so bad. So I always give the opportunity.
Thank you.
I do it too, believe me. I'm like, oh my God, I missed a paragraph. Anyway, so you're the New England Young Adult Program Manager. What does the YYA programming look like? What is YYA?
Yeah, so we're figuring that out right now. We've done, the first year was kind of building relationships, kind of creating that targeted programming that I mentioned before. So again, anyone who's 16 or older can always come in, but there are unique experiences that young people have had or are facing now, thinking about recovery, being a young person. So we have classes that are specifically for ages 16 to 25, and eventually we'll have young people leading those classes. So I'm not quite in that age range myself, but what I'd love to do is identify young people who are either in recovery or choosing to live this sober lifestyle and get them involved in our workforce, track, so we can train them and certify them as a CrossFit instructor or a rock climbing instructor, or a yogi, or some other type of discipline that makes sense, and then deploy them either in Phoenix or in their own communities. So there's opportunity to potentially, if there are young people in recovery here in Woburn, and Woburn High wants to offer its athletic facilities, once a week, we could potentially have Phoenix programming here on site at Woburn High. So there's youth and young adult programming looks like whatever the community needs it to look like. Mm-hmm. We're engaging with collegiate recovery communities, which is a really growing concept. So there are young people who are attending higher ed institutions, but also living and navigating recovery during that time of their life, and it's a lot. And so, especially in an environment which often is so focused around drinking and partying, collegiate recovery communities support one another, similar to how Phoenix does. So what we're seeking to do is kind of be that bridge that brings together all of the different collegiate recovery communities and individuals in recovery here in the Massachusetts, Boston area, to have fun, to do positive things together.
Not like anything, there's always the hard part of doing things. This sounds like a fantastic facility. Do they give you rent free on some of these, or do you have a huge rent over
So
the
we actually just purchased our building. We own the building that we're in. We had a capital campaign, and there were some between local donors and some grants and things like that. We have people who really believe in what we're doing and see the impact of what Phoenix does and can be and how it changes and saves people's lives. So we purchased our building, renovated it, and that was our grand opening, so it's ours. That said, it's not free to keep a building open. So our development manager wouldn't be thrilled if I didn't mention that if people want to donate, we would welcome it. It's a great way to give back. And again, through the phoenix.org, you can do that. And as little as $5 makes a difference. We have an anonymous $1 million donor, $1 million match this year. So an anonymous donor has agreed for every dollar up to $1 million in 2018, this person will also give $1. So we have not reached that $1 million yet. If you donate $1, if you donate $5, this person will double it for us.
I mean, this sounds like an awesome opportunity for someone out there listening, or someone that uses the facility to keep this going. Obviously, even though they own the building, it takes money. You do have heat, expenses, electricity, the weight program, everything that they're buying is always going to take funds to keep this program going, which is very worthwhile. And I really suggest people that are viewing this, $5, $10, corporate of course a lot more, but this is a program that's doing so much for so many people, giving them hope, giving them something they can do instead of hanging around with their friends, unfortunately getting high or using the product. Now their mind is somewhere else, their mind is developing their body, they feel a lot better after exercising. I mean, this is something that you really can't afford not to help. If you can't go as a member, if you can't go as a participant, I think $5, anyone that's listening to this, it's a nonprofit organization, obviously 501c3, it's tax deductible, and I can't think of a better place or a better facility that if you've got something left over to help somebody, you don't know someday that someone that could be you, it could be your son, your daughter. We really don't know what our kids are doing, and God forbid that happened if I had kids. I would want a place like the Phoenix out there that I could say, hey, these people can help you. But unfortunately, like everything, it takes money to keep a company going and to keep a program going. I really can't think of a better place. Andrea, I'm going to leave it with this. If you have one final thought that you can say to the public, what is your final message to people? What would you like people to know?
Yeah, well, first of all, I want to thank you for having me on here today. It's been a pleasure, and I grew up around here, and it's such a pleasure to come back and bring the Phoenix and information about the Phoenix to this area north of Boston. Any message that I have is that, if you are struggling with substance use, if someone that you care about is, recovery is possible. I didn't think that it was possible for me for a very long time, and my life is beautiful today. The Phoenix is a beautiful part of that, and that we're a resource. We're available for fitness programming, we're available as a community, but really we're people, and that anyone suffering from a substance use disorder, experiencing addiction, is a human and deserves to be treated with humanity and respect, and the Phoenix is a place where that happens, where hope lives. Where you see, I walk in the door and I see people laughing and smiling and growing and living, and at a time when that that can feel really overwhelming. When we go to this task force where we met and we hear about the overdose rates and the deaths, and we hear about all of the devastation and the pain of addiction, it's really important for us to also show the other side of that narrative, that people recover, that we are stronger than stigma, that we rise, recover, and live at the Phoenix. And we invite you to come check us out, again, at thephoenix.org. Has our schedule. David has my contact information, and I invite anyone who's interested to come visit us.
Behind me, we're going to be showing up on the board a couple of maps, which I would like to introduce to the audience. Andrea has been obviously a member of the Middlesex District Attorney Marion Ryan's task force for quite a while. I've been in it for 3 years. According to the latest numbers, as of October 16th this year, there have been 150 fatal overdoses, with 60 related just to heroin alone. In 2017, there were a total of 222 deaths. Looking at our chart, there's 153 deaths were related to heroin. This is just in Middlesex County. This is not the state of Massachusetts. This is not the United States. This is just Middlesex County, which I believe is 64 cities and towns. The chart on the wall will break this down even further by city and town. The chart that you're seeing with the map of Middlesex County shows triangles, shows circles. It shows each overdose by color, which was heroin, prescription drugs, and cocaine related. I'd like to thank Andrea for appearing today. Andrea was our first guest. Each month we'll be running a new program with a new guest with the programs that are available to you. Again, if you need help, help is available. Contact your local police department, fire department, EMS, somebody that can guide you along. Talk to the Phoenix. They should be able to help you get the help you need. Again, I know it's stigma, but sometimes you have to talk about it. If you want help, help is available. Check out the resources that are available. Stay tuned next month for our next guest, and thank you for viewing.